don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is...
Hello, guys. Episode number 5. It's what the heck is it? Who am I? No, wait.
Do you need help with that?
I'm so excited. I can't even. This is a good one, guys. This is a good one. It is Manifestation Mondays, Mentorship Mondays. Okay. We're going to keep this. We're just going to keep this because this is real life. This is how it is. It's Mentorship Mondays.
That's right.
Belle and Maren. Episode number 5. So, guys, things are getting exciting. Things are getting so exciting around here. And Maren and I, we didn't even talk before we did this because there's just so much that we know if we start talking,
we won't
start
stop.
sharing, we're not going to stop. And then all the good stuff you guys would miss out on. So we thought that we would save it all for you guys. So Maren, how was your week? Did you have a good week?
I felt by like the next day after you did the clearing, I felt so much better. Like it was almost like, I can't say instant, but like it was like a dramatic, it just all the symptoms started going downhill, and I felt so much better. And when you said clear, it's like that's what I needed. I was like overthinking my clearings to the point where then I don't think they were working, and just to go clear. And it's funny because the first time I said clear, I had this instant visual of like almost like a cell, and there were like all these like, I don't know, amoebas. I don't know science. But like kind of like, and then as soon as I said clear, I just saw them go like that. Like it was really cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, because that was like 100% just spontaneous that I saw that. Normally I'd be like, okay, and now I've got to think of the cell, and I've got to think of and it was like, it wasn't. It was just so natural. And so it was like the shortness of clear, just like it just, so every now and then I'm just walking with like clear.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing because it's like having that right intention, and it works, and it's easy, and it's quick, and there you go. And I knew that it would work very quickly for you because you have everything already set up and going. So that's really good. And so this is what I was gonna say before we get into what we're gonna talk about today. But so I was on your Instagram, and I was just starting to tell you that I was reading your post, and I don't know what day you did the post, but I read it yesterday, and you were talking about how you had a visitor standing on your bed. And I read it to my daughter because my daughter experiences that all the time, and she laughed because of what you said at the end. And I'll have you share because that's exactly what she does. Like she's just like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'll share the story real quick. So, just randomly in the middle of the night, I woke up and there was this like shadowy figure, like, kind of like wispy, shadowy figure where it just looked like in the middle of the night, it looked like someone's shadow was right there. And I thought, why in the world is my son? Because my son comes down in the middle of the night and sleeps with us often. I was like, why in the world is he standing on the bed? Like I was like, God, he's never done that before. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're with my mom. And so then I was like, well, why is my husband standing on the bed? And then I like felt for him, and I was like, oh, he's still laying down. What is that? And then I was like, oh, it's a ghost. And then I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just rolled over and went back to bed.
Because what do you do? Really?
Like I
like if there's, because a lot of times we have these visitors, and it might make somebody really uncomfortable. Some people that are not accustomed to working with spirits and that might think like, oh my God, I would freak. But that happens, and you're very clairvoyant too, and you're really seeing into other dimensions. And so what I'm getting is that it was like a passerby, like it's a spirit. It feels like a guide, like it doesn't feel like an earthbound spirit, not like that. It just feels like
Okay.
somebody that's coming in to check on you, like coming in
Okay.
to look. So I'm not exactly sure who it is, but that's
Okay.
what it feels like.
I feel good about that because I think I have come across earthbounds before, and I have like felt more uneasy, or I
Hmm.
felt more in the need to help. And
Yes.
this was like, I just saw you and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to bed. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like,
Yep.
I feel like that feeling matches with what
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
picking up.
you would feel that like that need to do something, or that anxiousness, or that
Yeah.
energy when it's something there that needs something from you, or like
Yes.
when they're looking for something from us, we feel it in our body. And I'll tell you, my dad, he has had so many experiences over his lifetime, and the one that it reminded me of this, because this one night he woke up, and at the time, this is before he had his eyes done, but didn't he wears glasses, and he had his glasses off, and he wakes up and he looks into the doorway of his bedroom, and he sees a shadow standing there. And he was kind of like looking, wondering, what is my mom doing in the middle of the night? Like, it's just the two of them, right? And their dogs in the house. He's like, what is she doing standing in the doorway? And he's just kind of looking. And then he takes his hand and he kind of reaches over and feels, and she's in bed sleeping, and he's like, and he looks, and he watched this energy lift itself up, so he could see like the feet, like they're the
Oh,
he could see the floor beneath, and it just
yeah.
backed up slowly and disappeared right in
Wow.
front of him. And then he heard, maybe, I don't know, 60 seconds later, he could hear like the bathroom drawers like pulling open and closing and open and closing. And it was maybe a day later, he was told that somebody that he knew had passed away. And so these are things that would happen to my dad a lot. He'd get like a visitation from somebody in the family that's passing away. So anyway, so it's really nothing to be afraid of, right? Because when we have these experiences, some people are like, "Oh my God, I want that to happen. I want that to happen." And other people are like, "If that happened to me, I would fly off my chair. Like, there's no way." But really, there's no rhyme or reason. Like, we can't exactly will it to happen. It's just one of these things where, especially as our energy, our universal energy, our planetary energy is shifting. And so there is only life, right? There is life in the physical, and there's life in the non-physical. And that's all there is life. So as our energy is shifting, we're peering into that non-physical lifetime, and vice versa. It's blending. So, which brings us to our topic today, which is really interesting. And this gets me excited because I have a lot of fun with this stuff. But so, a couple weeks ago on Erik's Hour of Enlightenment, channeling Erik, and I will link the show down here. I'm sure everybody has heard of it before, but if you haven't, I'll link it down here so that you can check it out. But I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but um, somehow I brought up the fact that I use this app, and it's called the Ghost Radar Legacy. And I've been using this for, I think, about 9 years now or so. And what it is it's like an app on iTunes or Play Store or whatever you use, just a free app. I of course upgraded it for 99 cents because I don't like the ads.
That's
So
fine.
just let you know. But what's so interesting is when I first downloaded it, I was doing a lot of so this is before I was actually doing mediumship and communicating in the way that I do today. This was more I was in a very experimental phase, which, by the way, I'm always in the experimental phase. I don't think we should ever be out of that. This
Right. Yeah.
is a consistent journey that should be exciting and creative and exploratory, because there's so much that we don't know. So, we should never get in a space of feeling that we know it all, or that we don't need to know anymore, because my goodness, I learn new things every single day, and I want to live that way for the rest of my life. So anyway, when I first got this app, it was before I had met Erik. And so I wasn't like a regular player with it. I just kind of had it and played around a little bit. But every now and again, when it would come on, there'd be something kind of weird that would pop up, like a word that I'd be like, I didn't say that word. And that was in my head. And that's really strange, like things
Yeah.
like that. Well, then when my awakening happened and I'd met Erik, and I was in this, it was like a period between November to February, which was very intense. And I had gotten Erik's books for Christmas, and that's where things really got crazy, where he was like things were being whipped at me in my laundry room. I'd like be bent over putting laundry in the washer, and I'd have like a cap or a lid of something would like fly at me and hit me. I'd be like,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm there by myself. So I'm like, okay, my dog is down here. Like she didn't, little dog, she didn't throw that at me. So things like that were happening. And then when I got the books, and I've told this story so many times, but the Erik, I know it's Erik now, but my phone was sitting. I remember Christmas Day, I was reading the book, and my phone was sitting on the side of the chair, and I was just reading his book and going through it. And I look over at my phone, and there was a cursor, like there is on the computer, on my phone, moving around. Like I've never, like a cursor, like a mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? And so my screen was like blipping, and this little cursor's going around, like something was going on. And so that's when I was like testing Erik a lot. I'm like, okay, this is you, show me this, show me this.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, mind you, what Erik has taught me since that day, and a lot of times people say, well, Erik, if it's you, you have to show me this. And Erik has said things before, like my brother was trying to test him or play games with him a few years back, and Erik's like, what do you think I am, a circus sideshow? Like like he, he sometimes he does these things, and it's like shock and awe when he does them. But it's also, we're on a journey, so there's like I guess the way he explains it is like there's a time and a place for it, and there is an energetic factor to it as well. But the other thing is too, if a person is really asking for a sign or asking for something, they're not going to just do it if you're in a space where the ego part of you is going to ask for it over and over and over again, because we can get in that little rut where we need that proof to be able to believe. So it's sometimes we have these things happen, and then it gives us like this little boost to get us to this next space, and then we trust a little more and trust a little more. Anyway, that's besides the point. What really got me with this ghost radar was Erik started giving me words like I asked him if it was him that I was talking to, and he came on and he said forever 19, and then he said sailor talk, and like he was like saying things like his swear words, so his sailor talk, and
Right.
being 19. And I can't remember, I screenshotted all of it and I've got it in a file somewhere because I wanted to keep that because it was just so mind-blowing. But anyway, so before I get into exactly how this works and why it works, I'll show you this morning. So I knew I was going to be using this, and I said to Erik, I'm like, okay, I was upstairs in the kitchen pouring my coffee, making my breakfast shake, and I asked him, I said, are you ready? And he says, the first thing he says at 9 o'clock this morning, you can't really see it, but this is like, this isn't the exact, it's not the exact radar. This is like, it keeps like a log of the words.
Okay.
So the first thing he says is camera. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I went missing here. Wait a minute.
I see you still.
Okay. So it said camera. Then a couple of words come up that
hold on. So a little background. I actually do have experience with this app, which is crazy.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell the story.
Okay.
But if this is the same one, it's like words don't, like they just randomly pop up. So it might be blank for 20 minutes and then a word pops up, or it might be blank for 30 seconds and then you get like a cluster of words.
Right.
So like the fact that you just say that and then something pops up, it's very like an intelligent response. It's not like you ask, it's not like a magic 8-ball where you ask it a question and like a word pops up right away. It's like very random occurrence of words. Yeah. So that's wild. Okay.
Yes. And so, and just to preface too, I was not speaking to Erik out loud. Okay.
Okay. It was in your head.
It was in my head. So for it to pop up and say camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wild.
And, which is exactly what we're about to do. And I'm pouring my coffee and it says cream. I'm like, you know, just little things like that. What else here? I'm setting up, it says series, imagine, begun, information, magic. Okay, these are all the words coming up, and this is exactly
unbelievable.
So this is what Maren and I are doing now. I'm going to turn it on to radar right now. And I said to Erik, I said, it'd be really nice. So this is what it looks like, what mine looks like. Okay, and I said it would be really nice if you popped on and said something for an example. And I'm going to explain to you kind of how it works. Like, so for you guys listening, when Erik does come on, he tends to come on as a blue dot. So for this, it comes up with different colored dots, and it's supposed to identify spirits. And they come up as green, they come up as red, they come up as yellow. I've even had them come up as pink, and I've never seen pink before, which is bizarre. Now, the thing about this is that I'm sure there are instructions. So I don't follow instructions. I never have. I probably never will. But I'm sure that there is some, like, you're supposed to put it to this setting and red means this and green means this. I don't do that. I just don't, because like everything else, it's my belief and what I feel and what I trust that works with the application. Like anything else, like any divination, like our communication with spirit, we can be told a step-by-step procedure of how to do something, but that's somebody else's way of working it. So I could tell you that Erik is blue, and maybe for you, Erik would pop up and be blue, but maybe he'd also come in as green. Maybe he'd come in. So it's really going to be your belief, your imagination, your working with it that makes it work. Now, how does it work? Why does it work? Well, because the electromagnetic field, which we have, which we're energy, in the same way that spirits can manipulate radio, can manipulate anything, any energy, light bulbs. For example, talking about my phone earlier, how Erik does the cursors. Do I know exactly how they do it? Do I understand step by step? No, I don't. What Erik has shared with me before is it's a manipulation of energy. He says to think of it as focus. And that's the best way to put it in our terms to understand it. It's like a state of focus that they're able to connect with that energy. It's like focusing their energy and maneuvering it. And just like Maren was saying, it doesn't come up verbatim. Like now, no words are popping up, of course, right?
He's letting you talk.
Yeah, that's true. He is letting me talk. But there, you know, it doesn't come up and have this conversation with you. So there's other applications, like there's a couple different people on YouTube. One is Huff Paranormal. The other one is Hope Paranormal. Both of them are legit, and they have made these boxes which are absolutely incredible, and they're ways to connect with spirit and bring their voices through. And I know Huff Paranormal, I know he's working in ITC for something like 10, 11, 12 years. He's been doing this, and he will tell you that the reason why it works is the connection. He will tell you love is the key. That's his phrase to it, because it is your someone might pick this up and have maybe a few nonsensical words come up and say, oh, this is crap, this is bull.
So I have to tell you my story. So I got my master's degree in a haunted town, a town known for being haunted, of course. And so my roommates, I had there were three of us. So I had two roommates. They thought it would be, they heard about this app and they were like, we should download this app and take it into like the downtown area that's haunted, to like the haunted hotel, and like see if it works. And I was like, okay. And so obviously like way before I knew I had this gift, but like looking back on life, like I feel like I've had this gift my whole life. Like I just never knew it, which is why I really want everyone to hear my story so you can realize you have this gift too. But so we take it into the bar of this haunted hotel, which is like in the basement of the hotel. Could not be any creepier. And of course, I'm like so freaked out. And because I believe ghosts at that point, I believed ghost stories, I believed ghosts were real. They did not. And my app was going crazy. And I swore that there was like a man in the bar that was talking to me. And they just like blew it off. And they were like, Maren, it's just a, you know, like a trick. Like it's not a real app. And I was like, you guys, I am freaked out right now. This app is talking to me. And theirs like was like nothing. And mine was just like beep, 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 beep. And it's so funny that you say intention, because here I am, you know, I like have this gift now that I know. And of course my app was going off, but I was like completely, you know, what is that called? Like sabotaged in my belief, because they were like, no, it's not real. And now you explain this, like I had the intentions, I had the belief, and that's why my app went off. And like, and so it's so funny that you brought this up today, because I think Erik put the idea in my head, because I literally, like earlier this week, was thinking about that memory where they made me feel so like I felt like a kid, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I got my hopes up and then I got like so let down, like, I'm like, just that whole like vulnerability thing where it was like, I was like, guys, this is real. And they were like making fun of me and, you know, it's not real, Maren. Like, I can't believe you would think that that's real. And so I like thought of that moment earlier this week as in like, well, I think it was real, because like, you know, look where I am. And so it's so funny that you bring that app up, because I had experience and just had a memory about that app. And so I'm so excited. I'm going to re-download it. It's been like, that was like, gosh, maybe like, it's been a while. It's been like at least over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Experience.
And,
So that's been a while.
It's amazing too, because like, I mean, and there's all these settings on this that like, so I mean, if people were to ask me, well, what settings do I put it on? Well, I don't know. I just kind of mess around with it. I don't know. I really don't know. Because to me, it's like spirit can manipulate it no matter what. What's going to come through is going to come through.
Yes. Yes. You know? And the more I've learned about energy, the more I'm like, of course the spirits could manipulate that.
Well, that's just it. It makes sense. And so, like, again, we have to start out like, so for anyone that's listening to this that is on the fence with this sort of stuff, you have to remember that, first of all, number one, as a medium, as anybody that is teaching this, that is working with energy, a healer, for myself, and I'm sure for you too, Maren, I'm not here to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah.
This is not about me trying to convince a skeptic that this is real, because that's a waste of my energy. That's a waste of, you know, I'm not saying that it's a waste of time for maybe somebody that is willing, you know, because sometimes people can be skeptical and then can be open at the same time. But the thing is that if you're so on the fence and you're expecting to have proof of something, like we'd said before, no amount of proof is really going to do it for you. You have to experience something yourself. And the only way that you're going to be open to be able to experience is is to look at what your intention and your belief system is, because energetically, that's a big old block. A belief system, if I believe that this is not real, if I believe this is nothing but a game, then that's what it is. Then it's nothing but a game for you, which is why you can be standing with two other friends and they're getting nothing on theirs, and you were getting something because you had a different energetic makeup, a different system. And so vibrationally, what we understand, and science will explain all of this stuff too. Vibrationally, and we're getting some action on here. We're getting some action. It did just come up with the word day, but not really too sure what that means. So
day as in D-A-Y?
D-A-Y, day. Yeah. But vibrationally, so we're on a scale. Like, so each one of us is on a scale. Our beliefs are on a scale. Everything is on a scale, like a hertz, a frequency. So communication with spirit is on a frequency as well. So this would be on a frequency. So what happens is the frequency of what we're getting with our communication, it's matching what we are. So like, I don't like using higher or lower, but let's say I'm on the frequency of 10. Okay. And 10 is the frequency that they're able to work with. Because remember, it's like having the energy is like having the difference between a wall and an open pipe to work through. Okay. So if there's a wall up, they're only going to be able to go so far and bounce off that wall. But when my frequency, we'll say as a 10, for example, is like having an open pipe. So they're able to move through and they're able to communicate. So our vibration, not only for any kind of divination, but for everything, is, it's how we operate in the world. Our vibration is so important, and not meaning, and we've said this before, not meaning that your vibration needs to be this high, got to be high vibe, I've got to be, no, it's got to be real. It's got to be real to where you are. That's the most important thing. It's got to honor where you are. If you're in a place where you're uncomfortable and you're sad or you're feeling something, then it's got to be it's just said horse. Okay, so here comes up Erik. He's coming up with the blue dot and he's just laughing, saying it's horse shit. It's horse shit because he's making fun of it.
Can I just tell you, so like right before that happened, maybe like 20 seconds before that happened, I heard him go, watch this. He's like, I'm going to do something. So I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because I'm like talking in my head and I'm talking about skeptics and all this stuff. And it pops up, his blue dot pops up and he said, and it says horse. And I hear him go, horse shit. It's horse shit. I'm like, so you heard me kind of like trail off. Like, what am I talking about? Because he throws me off when I start. Very funny, Erik. But anyway, I can't even remember where I was now. He does that on purpose just to get me all bubbly and blah blah. Anyway, Erik.
I don't know either because he threw me off because he was like this, and I was like waiting, and then I heard it say something, and I was like, oh, that was it. So I was totally off too because I knew.
Say something else for everybody, Erik. Like give an example, Erik. Come on, something besides horseshit.
You were saying like for vibrations, you don't need to have a high vibration.
Yes,
you
that's
just
right.
need to have an authentic vibration,
right?
Which I really like. Yeah,
and because the whole idea is like, and this was the biggest thing for me, is understanding energy. You understand energy, you can improve your life, you can change your life, you can understand how much control you have over your experience. And that changed everything for me because I always felt like I was being pulled along through life, especially emotionally. Felt like I was being emotionally dragged through everything, and that everything was everybody else's decision and I was always going along with it. That's how I felt, even though inside I knew that wasn't true, but I didn't know how to change that without going through upsetting people and all that other stuff, which we've talked about before. But to understand that our vibration is something that we can look at, we can work with right today. And something that came to me this morning just about this is, what is it in your life right now? Because vibration is how we do all of this. Like, there's nothing that is not connected. It's all connected. So your mediumship, your abilities, your desire to work in service for other people, that one of the most common things that I hear from people are, I know, or I desire so bad to work with other people. I want to help. I know that what I've been through in my life is meant for something. I've been told I'm a medium, or I really want to be, or I really want to be a healer. And the biggest thing is, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get there. I don't know where to start. And one of the most common things that Erik shares is, well, start at working on something within you that's ready to change. Don't start jumping around and saying, I need to change this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this. What's within you that is something that you know, and we all know. So we can be in denial all we want, but we all know if it's maybe a habit that we want to adjust, or maybe there's a relationship that we want to work on, or is there something that we're in denial with that we can change? Because those are the things that shift our energy.
So I love how we work together like a puzzle piece, because the thing that I got this morning so complements what you got.
Good.
So I have recently started, I never did this before. I started praying for myself, but my previous self, so that hopefully I can change my past to make my future better. So I've been, and so when you say like that one thing, so I have been, I really want to work on my confidence. And so, and like my trusting of like my images, and like, you know, like really feel confident as a medium. And so I thought, well, if I pray for my past self to be confident, then that confidence is going to carry over to my present self and my future self. And then also, and I just love it, because, you know, time's an illusion. So you can do that and change your past. And it might not like physically change your past, but it changes your emotions and the way that you feel about your past. Then changes your present. So I have been targeting that one specific thing and praying for myself and giving myself confidence in the past, which like literally week one, I already feel a difference.
Absolutely.
So when you are trying to target that one specific thing for yourself, my recommendation to you is to like pray for your past self. Like, where did that come from? What, you know, and then I already love it, because I was brushing my teeth this morning and I go, I feel so good knowing that there's someone that really cares about me, which is me, that's praying for me for in this moment right now, because I know I'm going to be doing that in the future for my previous self, which is me today. And like, it gave me the best feeling. I was like, that's really awesome.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And that makes, and that's quantum.
Right?
That is quantum. And so, and that's what, with healing, you know, many times I'll talk to somebody, and what spirit advises is to be able to energetically step into that version of yourself, meet that version of yourself. And I love praying for that version of yourself. I love that so much. That is so powerful. I can feel absolute chills when you're talking about it. Because it is, I can feel the power of it. And
I can too. Like, it is so odd. It's not odd. I get it. I 100% understand,
but
it
makes sense on every level, because, and let's break it down for a second. Why does that make sense? Because, well, it's quantum, because the only thing that is actually existent is right now. So we can only change and experience physically where we are right now. However, we can adjust the energy of the past and the future. And so what we do right now does change the energetic frequency of the past, and then therefore sets a different projection for the future of where we're going. So we're not only, by you praying for the past, you're also taking care of yourself presently, and you're taking care of the future. And you're raising the vibration of what's available to you in the future. The other thing is too, is that is radical self-love. That is one component. There's many things that we can do to be in radical self-love. Well, love is the highest vibration there is. When you love yourself, when you give love to yourself, when you find a way that is powerful, and that is a very powerful thing to do, because not only is it a powerful action, but that belief that you have with it, and now you're experiencing it, which makes it even that much more powerful. When you do that, that is also the vibration of abundance. And so that opens up so many doors, and you feel it because it feels good. And I love that you said that you have someone praying for you, and it's you. And the other point, and Eric's just saying this too, is the other point is that because we are part of God, because we are all part of God, and we cannot be separate from God. And so what's happening is that is the God in you loving the God in you. So that's loving God. And like, it's just, in so many different levels, that's extremely powerful. And I think that is an awesome thing to share with other people, because there's going to be so many people listening to this that are looking for ways to be able to heal themselves from the past. And that is such an easy, and it really is something easy to do. But the other thing is too, is that having the commitment, because I know, like, Maren works at this every day. And I know it's a joy to do that because it's in your heart to do it. But it's something that, you may not feel the results. So if you're listening to this, you may not really understand, well, how exactly does that work? But try it, do it, give it an opportunity, give it a chance, and do it, because these are how we make all of these changes. And so when you start to work on one thing, what happens is it starts to spread out to other areas. Think of how negativity spreads, how easily negativity can spread. Well, when we take the power and change that and put love into that, and we express love, boy, that spreads. And when that spreads, that spreads like wildfire, and it starts to spread into many different areas of your life. That's amazing. I love that so much. That's a really good one. You guys need to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. We'll talk about that again and see how that's going. So I'm going to add that into my healing work, my self work.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, like with the radar, like, the only thing I was going to mention is this is the same thing, our connection with the ghost radar, that would be with the pendulum, that would be with the dowsing rod, cards, anything. The other thing too is I have a lot of people that, oh, that's a pretty one. I love that one. I love the pendulum.
Made it a bed. So it got stuck in the bed.
That's cute. So, what was I gonna say? I've lost my train of thought again.
It's the intention that's put into these is what makes them work.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. And so the one other thing I was going to mention is I've had a lot of people come to me about the Ouija board. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that is something that a lot of people are like, oh, I would not touch the Ouija board, and what I'm going to say about that is, like anything else, it's not the actual board itself. It's the energetic frequency. And so if somebody has, and I've worked with people that have had attachments or had, things occur because they've worked with a Ouija board at some time in their life, but at that time they were working with it or played with it or whatever, they had something going on. Their vibrational frequency, whether it was illness or maybe something going on in their life that was lower frequency. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I just mean that's just where the energy was at, because you have to have an opening for a lower vibrational frequency to come in. You have to have an opening. You have to be a vibrational match somewhere for that to happen. And so if a person's belief system is that I'm not going to touch that thing because that's going to cause something bad to happen, then stay away from it. If that's where your belief is at and that's where you feel, then fine. But know that it truly is, like, when you're using any of these things, keep in mind that there is no harm to any of this, but when you're doing any spiritual work, do it when you're in a good state of mind. You know, you want to be clear. And um Eric's just saying to me, like, if you're in a low vibration, you know, if you're open, whether you're in a very sad place, or he was mentioning, like, alcohol, drugs, different things that are going on in our life, those are ways that they can come through. So you don't want to do that stuff when you're in that state. Um, use protection, and we talked about that last week. Use the protection if you are in a place where you feel like that is necessary for you and that protection is going to help you, then do it. But everything that we do matches the vibrational frequency that we're at. When I use my pendulum, when I use a card or my ghost radar, I don't tend to put protection around me, because I know that I'm protected, and I do that every day, like we talked about before. In the shower, I do my whole thing. So I know that I'm protected. But if I was in a really low place, like if I was like really upset or really off, I wouldn't do it, I guess, more because not because I'd be worried of something coming through, because I don't believe that for myself, but more because I wouldn't really feel that it would be a clear communication. Because if I'm not clear, I don't feel the communication is going to be as clear as what I would need it to be. But I guess the best thing to say, to kind of sum it all up, is that, again, it keeps coming back to belief and intention with everything.
That's kind of what I was like going to sum up. Like, what I'm hearing from you is that these aren't just toys or whatever. If you believe them to be tools of the light, of communicating with light, then they will be. And you don't really need protection, because your intention protects you. But if you're just, you know, casually thinking, A, if you think it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And then B, if you have some negativity, or if you think it's a tool to get creepy, low vibrational beings, it will be a tool to get creepy, low vibrational beings. So when you think of them as tools of the light, which we do, then that's what you'll get. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. It's all about intention.
That's the truth. Okay. And other than horse shit, I don't know if Eric's going to come through and say anything else. That was really funny, though. That was really funny. Leave it to Erik. Well, he did give us some really good words today, though. But so do try it if you guys. It's called Ghost Radar Legacy.
Ghost Radar
and
Legacy.
Yeah, and so again, I'll show you. Mine looks like that, and it might look different. I'm on Android, so it might look different on iPhone.
I had an Apple, and it looked very much like that. Yeah. Okay. But it's been a while.
But have some fun with it. I'll share one other little experience that I had on there. I do use this for when I do my healings. So I'll just put this on and set it on the desk. And so when I'm in meditation, and I'll go back after I get out of meditation, like I'll hear it. I'll hear the words going off. And a lot of times I'm getting information and visual stuff, and then a word will pop through, and it'll just validate everything that's going on. But I like to leave it on. I know Erik has a lot of fun with me on it. He makes me laugh a lot, popping different words through and that. But my guardian angel, one that I work with, is Bronwyn. And I remember when I got her name years ago, I heard the name in the shower. I was in the shower, and that's, I always say, it's my best place to communicate is in the shower for myself.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
Right? Water's conduit, and it's a nice clear place, and we're by ourselves and often in a relaxed state. And so I was asking questions, and I wanted to know what my guardian angel's name was, and I had heard Bronwyn, and I thought, that's a really weird name, you know. So I went and Googled the name to see what it meant, and it meant angel messenger, or Irish messenger, or something of God. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then that day, my ghost radar said the name Bronwyn. Yeah.
Wow.
Like out of all the names that you've ever heard, so that is how I got introduced to Bronwyn, how I knew who she is. And I'm sure she'll pop up more as we go on and chit chat.
Oh my gosh, that makes me, I'm like, as soon as we get off, I'm downloading this.
Yeah. So have fun with it, guys, and call Erik in, call your guardian angels in, let them play with you.
That's the other thing too. Don't let anyone like make you feel like it's silly or it's not real, because it is. And it's so funny. I had that thought earlier this week that I was like, I think that was real. I should have listened to myself.
And that's so important. That's so important. Do not let anyone else rain on your parade.
Yeah.
Do not do that. It's so easy for other people to, kind of laugh or slough things like that off, and don't share it with them. If it's somebody that's like that, don't share it with them. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. This is for you. This is for your communication. You have fun with it. Don't let anybody else take that away from you, because it is real. And all you have to do is keep going in your heart and knowing what you know, because our communication with spirit is very much like, yes, we co-create, like Maren and I are doing. We co-create and we have so much fun, and it's amazing when you connect this information with somebody else. It's just awesome, and it builds more and more. But it's also such a beautiful and personal experience, and your relationship with spirit is just amazing. So allow it to be sacred. Share it when it's the right time to share it. Share it when you know you're sharing it with somebody that's got open ears. And for those that don't, that's okay. Allow them to have their beliefs. And you don't need to defend or prove anything to anybody. Don't let anybody rain on your parade, and have fun with it. And I bet you anything, if you start to play with Erik and call him in, he's going to come in and surprise you. But he's he's not a sideshow. He's not a sideshow. But anything else you wanted to mention before we close up?
No, that's it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Thank you
That was
for the
fun.
well wishes. I feel so much better. So
Yes,
thank
I'm
you.
so glad you feel better.
Yes. To everyone that wrote in. Thank
It's a good
you.
one. And guys, and also I've seen we've got lots of questions, and I'm being emailed questions and everything too. So Maren and I will compile those and put them together for the next videos. But we really wanted to do the Ghost Radar one today. So
yeah,
that's it.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So happy episode number 5. We will see you guys next time, and have a wonderful week. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.